A to the K.
To the K.
To the K.
Coming up tonight on the Ringside Report. Cody Rhodes, no longer headed to WWE.
Love the suspense there. I'll try it. Josh Alexander re-signs with Impact Wrestling.
Chelsea Green breaks her wrist again.
Jeff Hardy signs with AEW.
WWE reportedly talking with EA Sports for their next series of games.
It's in the game. Vader to be inducted in WWE's Hall of Fame.
Becky Lynch suffers a fractured voice box.
An AEW star has been cast in Young Rock.
Miro extends his AEW contract. Anthony, when's all that coming up?
It's all coming up right fucking now.
Yes, it is. So let's kick things off with the very first item of news. We're talking Cody Rhodes again, Anthony. It's Cody Rhodes. We're going in on Cody Rhodes. Yes, we are. So, as we know, Cody has left AEW, and the assumption was that he was going to rock up in WWE somewhat imminently in time for a WrestleMania appearance. But the folks over at Ringside News have reported that, they reported originally that Cody was still on internal documents for WrestleMania. However, not long after they reported that, basically, they changed their minds and said, actually, that doesn't appear to be the case anymore. They were told that Cody is off any internal documents and is no longer listed as part of the show. So, what's going on with this Cody Willy Won't-He kind of shenanigans at the moment? It seemed like a dead cert that he was going to go to WWE, if you believe all the news tabloids. But is this the biggest swindle? Have we, we've heard of the Tinder swindler. Have we got, the Cody swindler? I don't know.
Cody Con.
The Cody Con. Maybe
Honestly,
this was never the case. Maybe
that sounds like a convention Cody would hold for himself, if I'm honest.
Yes, I could see that happening, to be fair.
Dressed as your favourite incarnation of Cody. I call dashing. Anyway, sorry. I think you want to mind you anyway with that Con.
I'm going to go as flame retardant back Cody. Just going to have all my skin peeling off. That'd be fun.
I'm going to go as AEW Cody pre-neck tattoo. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Nah, I think, who knows? Obviously, he left AEW. Have we all been worked, Anthony? Basically, has Cody left AEW because they knew all along that Tony was buying Ring of Honor, and therefore Cody's going to be like, now I'm in Ring of Honor, and I'm going to go up against AEW.
And guess what? That's one place he could win the top title. I don't know, I think Cody did honestly leave. I think he's open to discussions. And fuck it, I'm going to say it. I think, and I don't mean this in too much of a negative way to Cody, I think he'd be probably a bit too much of a diva to ever actually reach an agreement with WWE. And that's not, again, diva's probably not the right word, but he left for very obvious reasons and nothing's changed. And I don't think he would ever get to it, but he'd demand a lot and not get what he wants. And I think the negotiations would always fall down. And I might be eating humble pie in a couple of weeks when he turns up at WrestleMania. A couple of weeks?
Yeah, not long at all,
it's
actually.
Yeah. So I might be eating humble pie at that point. But I don't know. I'd be surprised if he reaches an agreement that he is satisfied with. And therefore, I think that the talks will always fall apart with him in WWE, to be honest with you.
It would have been shocking if he did go back there, to be fair. But yeah, I honestly don't know. Maybe he's just going to take time away and just be a dad for a bit. Because, let's be honest, he's just had a kid, hasn't he? So maybe he should just have a bit of time. And, he's going to have options, whether it's back in AEW, Ring of Honor, Impact, New Japan, or WWE, who knows. But,
Yeah. Can you imagine how overproduced playing peekaboo with his kid's going to be, though? The lights and everything would be crazy.
Every morning when a kid wakes up, he has to do his entrance into the kid's bedroom to get her out of the crib.
Yeah, it's like, why is the fog machines in every room? No, Brandy.
You're giving our child asthma, Cody. Shut up! I need it.
Anytime she's like, "Oh, can you just go and get a fresh bottle for the baby?" It's like you just suddenly hear his theme music playing. It's like, for God's sake, go back to work.
Yeah, it's like, but Snoop Dogg's actually in his house, and it's the Snoop Dogg rapped version of it.
Love it. I reckon Snoop Dogg would do it. Yeah, he'd probably be a great nanny, actually.
Just does commercials and shit now, doesn't he? So, yeah, why not? But yeah, so like Cody no longer on the internal documents, if it's to be believed, so may not be appearing at WrestleMania. What does it all mean?
They're very key on that. Is he on the external documents?
Oh.
You didn't mention those.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know what they mean. Anyway, so Carl, my news this week is pretty much just a quick one, actually. And that is Josh Alexander has re-signed with Impact Wrestling. So for those of you in the know, his contract expired mid-February. And there was some apparent fear, some genuine fear that he wasn't going to re-sign. But it became very clear, I believe, not recorded sort of after the show, but at the Sacrifice pay-per-view, he came out and addressed the audience and confirmed that he'd signed a multi-year deal. And apparently, during his whole sort of mention of him re-signing, he mentioned that there was never really going anywhere else, So it seems like the fears were unfounded. But rest assured, Carl, he has signed a multi-year deal. He is going to be with us for some time.
I am very well rested and assured. That is
good.
True.
Thanks, Josh.
To be fair, I've not really seen that much of him. I kind of joked when I caught Impact a few weeks ago or months ago, however long ago it was, saying he's just a Kurt Angle ripoff because he's got the
I get where
wrestling headgear and stuff like that on. But I said that in jest, obviously. But he seems well liked by a lot of people. So obviously, if he has re-signed with Impact, then it's a big get for them. So fair play for them. And at the end of the day, as long as he's happy there doing what he's doing, then yeah, wins all round, I would say. But unfortunately, who isn't winning, and you've got to feel for the poor girl, is Chelsea Green has broken her wrist again. I was going to say she can't catch a break, but evidently she catches nothing but breaks. No, it's obviously it's so shit for her, isn't it? She took to Twitter basically and commented, "I could copy and paste this caption now. Lol. Thank you for the support, calls and texts. Shit happens, but Impact Wrestling has my back." Yeah, I'd kind of hoped that she had alluded these. Because it's felt like a while now since she's had this happen to her, where it was just constant, wasn't it, for a time, especially in WWE. So
she's been very, very unlucky.
I know. I think she said that either the first time it happened, how it was repaired, or something off the back of that makes it quite easy to continuously break, essentially. So. Yeah, fair play to her, because I think for a lot of people, they just go, all right, enough's enough, I'm going to give up on my dream now kind of thing and stop doing it. But, she clearly loves the business, she loves what she does, and there doesn't seem to be any kind of keeping her away. So all we can do is wish her a speedy recovery, hope that she can still take part in stuff, even if she can't wrestle. Obviously, Matt Cardona is doing a lot of stuff in all the different promotions, and she's been right there with him. So hopefully that can continue. And, yeah, hopefully she gets back to the ring very soon.
Indeed. Next one, Carl, and you'll have to forgive. I don't know if you've watched AEW this week. I certainly haven't.
Spoilers.
But my next one was actually regarding Jeff Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's been a lot of speculation that Jeff Hardy was going to appear this week. Carl, am I right in saying he did not? I don't think he did, but I've not watched it yet.
Well, Anthony, he did. He bloody well did. Jeff Hardy is all elite, my friend. So Yeah, there was a lot of...
I'll have to just give you my news article here, Carl, because I am behind the times.
Apologies.
This originally, when I noted, it was speculative because his contract expired on that Wednesday. His non-compete expired on that Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, wow. Okay, then.
So he's there. Elite. He is all elite. So in a segment with Andrade, or the AHFO, had called a little bit of a meeting. They decided to kick Matt Hardy out of it. Sting and Darby Allin came down to make the save, but they were getting a bit outnumbered as well. So who rocks up with the original Hardy Boys music? I'll shit you not. So WWE able to secure the license for the original Hardy's music because it was not WWE produced. It was just something that they hired themselves. So they've got the original song.
That's a little thought in the side, isn't it?
It certainly is. The original music, and there he was. He's there. They are reunited, and whether you love him or you hate him, regardless of what he's been through and stuff like that, it's always good to see the Hardys back together. And
much prefer them as the Hardy Boys. I dare say I always thought WWE were almost too big on Jeff by himself. I always preferred them as a tag team.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, it opens a lot of opportunities to see them up against the likes of FTR. Obviously the way that he came in after they kind of cleared the ring of Andrade and Private Party and the like, they were left Hardy's, Sting and Darby in the ring. So whether that's alluding to something, and obviously we never managed to get the match at, was it Sacrifice? I can't remember. Every time I say Sacrifice, I just think of Scott Steiner talking about Sacrifice.
In Sacrifice, it's one of their longest standing pay-per-views, and it's
but obviously we never got Jeff Hardy versus Sting, so that in itself will be money to see. Obviously that go down because obviously it's something that we've wanted for a while.
Behind the scenes, how much water's gone under the bridge between the two of them next. He was pissed at the time, wasn't he?
Oh yeah. I mean, as we know, Jeff tested negative in all the tests that he did in WWE, so he clearly wasn't under the influence of anything when they fired him essentially. So hopefully it is all behind him now, and hopefully Sting can see that, and that we will get that match a few years later than originally planned.
Yeah, you got to imagine they have put it past him, but
yeah, fingers crossed. But I genuinely think this is a massive get. I know a lot of people are kind of saying, "Oh, another WWE guy. He's a massive git." No, I think it's a big signing for AEW. A lot of WWE stans are very much like, it's another WWE signing, but it's Jeff Hardy. You'd be stupid not to sign Jeff Hardy. Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm excited to see what the Hardys do in AEW.
Again, love them as a tag team. I'm sure many people are going to be pissed off that we still haven't had Jeff Hardy go back to his No More Words theme music, and we never fucking will.
Well, I mean, he did do it once or twice, didn't he, towards the very end?
I think we might have got literally once,
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, so funny. And also, just from a selfish standpoint, I never properly saw Young Bucks versus the Hardys in Ring of Honor. I think it was. I caught some clips and stuff, but I'm keen to see that under the AEW umbrella at some point.
I don't know how you feel about this as well. Not to just totally jump to another point, but just because I was sat thinking about things. I honestly really want them to stick with the Hardy Boys for a while as well. I don't want any of this broken stuff. Like I didn't mind Matt's broken stuff in AEW. I'll be honest, I still don't really get it. Right, I mentioned it a few times when he was doing his broken stuff in AEW. I don't really get it, but it made for some fun stuff. But I hope it doesn't go to the whole Brother Nero, broken Matt stuff, and we just get the classic Hardy Boys for a good bit,
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do with that, because obviously I think they even referenced it's Brother Nero or something like that as well at one point, so who knows how they're going to portray it. But I know the merchandise which they've released is very Hardy Boys centric, so yeah, and obviously they got the old school theme and stuff as well. I imagine, at least in the short term, we'll stick with that.
Just need Lita now and then we've done it.
Well, they made her an offer, she said no, so...
What did they offer of both Hardys?
Maybe that'll sweeten the deal.
Like, Tony's there, I need the full set. I need full set Team Extreme. I need to finish my collection.
Well, exactly. He is just a collector, isn't he? He's just basically... he's not interested in collecting on card. He's just interested in collecting loose. Real life people.
They're like, might try and get an Undertaker. He's not mincing box, but they're trying to get him.
Yeah, this one's a bit old. Literally just wheels him out when he's like 80. Told you I'd get the Undertaker.
No, like joking aside, like obviously some elements of him, he is a fanboy from old, isn't he? He loved wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Like it must be like when you like have that kind of money and you're basically signing wrestlers that you love. Like I wonder if part of him would love to sign Undertaker. Like he never will, and he must know that as well. Undertaker's loyal, like just insanely loyal to WWE. And he's one person I feel almost like I'm gonna touch wood now just in case, but he'll never get Undertaker, he'll never get signed, he'll never waver from WWE. He's a loyal guy. But I wonder if part of Tony's like, I wonder what the number is. I wonder if he'll ever try. You know what I mean?
I kind of hope he does. There's a certain somebody who made an appearance at Revolution who we thought was a WWE lifer as well. So, you never know.
Although, that's true, but I get why that happened.
Well, yeah, true. It was that was an easier one, but still.
Indeed. Anyway, so it's my turn now, was it? No, that was my news.
Oh, that was your news. My bad.
Sorry, I made you talk right off, but that was my
This
news.
is true. So the next one to talk about, obviously, WWE just released their latest game in the 2K series, so WWE 2K22 has just come out. However, a new report from Fightful, who are obviously very reliable, have said that WWE have started having recent talks with EA, or EA Sports in particular, around potentially moving the WWE Games division over to there from 2K. Now, I know there's been for a while now a lot of people very unhappy with the 2K games from WWE, either being really poor graphics or poor gameplay or just not working in general, to be fair. So
this time, kind of not their fault, but having next to no roster.
Well, yeah, that too. So I think this latest edition was very much seen as kind of a make or break release for them. But that being said, it seems to have gone down very, very well. I think a lot of people are reacting really favourably to the new game. So I don't think anything's signed or anything like that yet. But I believe WWE may have been having these types of talks with EA in case this current edition wasn't exactly the best either. But I don't know. How would you feel about that? I mean, obviously the glory days of wrestling games for us was obviously back in the day. You SmackDown versus Raw, stuff like that, when it was all developed by Ukes.
I'm still waiting for my AEW game. That's going to be a return to my childhood, I reckon, because naturally it's going to be the same people, so it's going to be. It's going to tweak all my nostalgia. I'm totally assuming. Maybe, I don't know. I never minded. That doesn't feel like a good sentence. I enjoyed the 2K17. I think it was. I thoroughly enjoyed. Even the year before when we had the I can't remember what they call that mode now, but you played through Stone Cold Steve Austin's career in 2K16.
Oh yeah. I think I had that one actually.
Yeah, and there were a lot of good elements in that sense. Because I had the Brock Lesnar one. And there were a lot of good elements where like you could play that. What was that mode called? You play through the career.
Was it just career mode?
No.
Showcase.
Showcase. I thought Showcase had some legs, and I feel like they failed to capitalize on it. The Austin one was the best one they did, and then that was kind of it. And there's some really good elements to it, but they just like the errors, the issues, and don't be wrong, they aren't the first company to bring a game out that wasn't fucking finished. Hey, Assassin's Creed. But I don't know. Like, are they bad games? Probably not. I think they're probably in a similar vein to a lot of companies where we have to bring one out every year, so it's not going to be much different. Bit like that, isn't it? Really. Yeah. But I don't know. Are EA going to offer much in terms of difference? I'm trying to think of EA games.
Well, I mean, like, they're all sports ones, aren't they? So it's like FIFA and stuff like that. But they're very much the same, where they don't really change the gameplay all that much every year. So.
But would you say the quality of an EA game typically is very good, or can they be just as buggy? Because that's something I wouldn't really know. I mean, my extent of playing FIFA is slide tackling people.
I mean, mine too, to be fair. But I don't know. They're not. They're not perfect. There's certainly been times where they've released stuff and it's not been, very good, and they've had to patch it and things like that. But
and correct me if I'm wrong. When we used to play NHL back in the day, was that was an EA game, right?
Yeah, NHL was EA, but when we used to play NBA games, they were 2K because we preferred them to the EA one. So
NHL games, I kind of want to travel back to me childhood and play some NHL. Would you know? I'll be honest with you.
Then. Toronto Maple Leafs, New Jersey Devils. That was always the battle.
Yeah.
But yeah, good times. But yeah, I honestly don't know. Like FIFA is I kind of hate FIFA a bit because they completely changed the game to make it all about trying to buy these packs and stuff like that, and to actually enjoy online and things. And really, it just took all the fun out of it. So that'd be one of my concerns if they move to EA. It's like, oh well, if you want to play as Brock Lesnar and actually be able to do a finisher move, you need to unlock him in WWE Ultimate Team or something like.
That could be a very real possibility. You move and you get the microtransactions. People get addicted to these games.
Yeah.
Like super addicted to collecting the packs and trying to get like a golden Charizard. I don't know. I don't know football.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he plays for one of the teams.
Probably. I don't know if you can really incorporate that into a WWE game, but they've got a roster of characters there. They've got a massive roster of legends there. They could probably do some sort of like collectible element to it. Yeah. So.
But yeah.
Get your wallets ready, guys. Get your wallets ready.
So not confirmed yet, but it seems like WWE have definitely had talks with them. So let's see what happens. Whether 2K22 saved it or whether
did EA make UFC?
I'm not sure, to be fair.
Yeah, the UFC games on PS4 were boss,
I'm genuinely not sure.
Okay. The only thing I didn't like about the UFC games on the PS4 was I used to enjoy that mode where you create your own guy and then you play other people online, whatever that mode was called. And the amount of people who got salty because you'd use submissions or takedowns, it's like, why you go and play a boxing game then?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You tell them. So that was my one.
Right, so my one, Carl. Again, a quick. I say everything's quick, and we talk for over an hour. But this one, Carl, and I'd be interested to see your take on it. You were probably more of a heyday guy than I was in this sense, but WWE have recently confirmed that, or recently announced, should I say, that Vader will be honoured in this year's Hall of Fame. So he'll be joining the Undertaker. I don't know if we've announced anyone else. Apologies. But it looks like we're going to get Vader. And in all fairness, I think it's well deserved. I've seen a couple of comments online where it's like, in a world where the Great Khali has been honoured before Vader, it's insane sort of thing. But you could say the same with Undertaker, couldn't you? And I think they did. But Vader, obviously, very well thought of in the business, but a little bit before my time, Carl. So I'm going out on a limb and saying, of course, it makes absolute sense. But I don't know if you have any comments on this.
No, I think it is well deserved. Long overdue as well. It would have been nice if he could have gone in when he was alive. Unfortunately, it's is what it is. At the end of the day, he's going in, and it's well deserved. I think some of the other names. So I think you're right. No one else has been announced, but I think other names which have been talked about include Psycho Sid himself and who else was it? I think there was a tag team as well. I can't remember who that was. So, yeah, a couple of other names potentially still working on. I think they're leaving it a bit late, aren't they? There was a lot of talk it might just be The Undertaker this year, but it'd feel weird if it was just 2 or 3 of them. So I feel like they still need to pad it out a little bit more. But yeah, obviously Vader, really good announcement, and yeah, I think well deserved. I think it's going to be potentially his family inducting him in as well, as opposed to a particular kind of other wrestler or something like that. So that'll be nice. But yeah, well done to Leon. So the next one is a bit of a sad one, to be fair, because we don't fully know the true impact on WrestleMania. But essentially, Becky Lynch has fractured her voice box. So she was on a live event against Bianca Belair, and the footage has since been released. But Bianca went to kind of hit her with a forearm and literally got her right across the windpipe. And basically Becky posted a picture to her Instagram that basically said where she had like tubes like up her nose and like monitoring equipment and stuff like that, and basically the caption was, "Unfortunately, I will not be at Raw tonight. Not only did Bianca whip me mercilessly with the illegal weapon that is her hair last week, but last night in the main event of WWE Allentown, she tried to take away my biggest weapon, the spoken word, by fracturing my voice box. She can't keep me down that easily. I'll be coming for her next week. You can't spell WrestleMania without I." Now, she since did a follow-up post to that saying, "No fracture, no splitting blood, no whipping is going to keep me from keeping a title no one has beat me for in 3 years. You've only made me more dangerous." But she did actually talk on that one with a bit of video, and her voice is fucked. So, yeah, damn.
I know. I think the strange thing was Seth sending Bianca some flowers. That was a bit harsh, wasn't it? I kid, that didn't happen.
Terrible person. But yeah, that's
like an unfortunate shot. Like there's not really a carelessness or a blame to be taken there. It's just these things happened, and it's like you say, it's fucked the voice right up. It's crazy that.
Absolutely. We can only hope that there's no issues with WrestleMania, and obviously no long-term kind of damage there, and hopefully speedy recovery to it, because she has been killing it for a long time now. So definitely one of the best that they've got in that women's division. So fingers crossed she's back, and back to her old self soon.
So the next one I've got for you, Carl, Chavo Guerrero. Very recently spoken with Wrestling Inc. There's good of him. And he's talked about a few different things. One of the things he mentioned was just how much he loves The Rock and will do anything for The Rock, and The Rock's the man, and so on. That's a joke, but obviously he's done a lot of work on the Young Rock, but he has a lot of respect for and does a lot of work for The Rock himself. He's mentioned a few things like basically if The Rock ever ran for office, he would vote for him and stuff like that. And that, if The Rock wants him to go and work on the XFL or whichever, he would do it. He's The Rock's guy. He's got his back, that kind of thing. But one of the things he mentioned, which is interesting, a couple of bits actually that he mentioned that were interesting. He mentioned about sort of his current position, and whilst he didn't say sort of categorically, he mentioned about sort of how his mentality has been in the past and how he is now, in terms of like he had that Guerrero mentality, and he sort of almost like fights himself to like not sort of cut himself off from working with companies and such. And it seems like he'd quite happily work with WWE or AEW in the future. But it's interesting, obviously, because that sort of indicates his current relationship with AEW, which after that tweet the other week that got deleted, it's interesting. So it makes you wonder. It seems like he is not heading back to AEW anytime soon, but is open to the idea. But one thing that he also mentioned, Carl, was, and this is a bit of a teaser because I haven't got any names for you, was that he mentioned on working on the Young Rock season 2 that he helped cast a guy from AEW, and he actually says in the interview, he says, "I won't say a name yet, but he played a great part and he was awesome." And that's where he sort of mentions that it was, it's great having those sort of working relationships, and obviously he was working with AEW at the time, so AEW was perfect. And just sort of the positions he's sort of put himself in, and he's able to sort of recommend these guys, is awesome, and working on such a good series as well. So the point being, Carl, keep an eye out in the Young Rock and see if you can spot an AEW guy in there, because there's going to be one, and we don't know who it is just yet.
Very interesting. Yeah, no idea who it could be either, but I need to finish season 1 because it was actually quite good. I just haven't had the time to finish it. But
I'm only about 2 episodes in.
Yeah, I think I can't remember how many I got. It wasn't many more than that, 4 or 5 maybe. But yeah, I was enjoying it, so I have to definitely catch it.
I can't believe they didn't call it Little Rock.
True. And so the final one to talk about, Anthony, the last piece of news for this week is Miro, former AEW TNT champion, has recently signed a new 4-year contract extension. So reported by Fightful Select, basically it's now going to keep him with the company until at least 2026. He's then gone on to since confirm this on the Kurt Angle Show, which is another podcast that exists out there. Maybe, we like to help our fellow podcasts, so maybe go and check those guys out. But yeah, so obviously he's been off telly for a while, hasn't he, Miro? He had an injury. They brought him back before he was fully healed to work a match when they needed him, but he's since not been back since. So I think that was like November time, but reports have said that he is technically cleared to return, and he has been for a little bit of time now, but he hasn't rocked back up yet. So technically cleared. So yeah, interesting. I think probably would have expected him back if he was cleared, because obviously the stuff he was doing with his new gimmick, like the Redeemer and stuff like that, was going down pretty well. So, but big news though, the fact he's signed another 4 years. I think his contract was originally set to expire early 2022. So obviously a 4-year extension clearly shows that he's, they've got plans for him in the long term, and he should do as well. He's a massive talent. We never got to see his full talent utilised in WWE, and we haven't really got to see it utilised fully in AEW yet either, but we know he's got bags of it, and hopefully he'll unlock that over the next few years.
Are you in like a gaming mode there?
Yeah, I still haven't got off the EA Sports thing.
We've unlocked bags.
We can actually unlock his talent, but it's going to cost us about 60 quid in opening packs to see whether we can.
Packs involved?
All the packs, X-Pac, Pac, Pac-Man's in there. It's crazy. So yeah. So that be the news.
One, right?
That be
That's
the
all
news.
the news.
Another fun-filled week. Obviously, we're also going to be talking all the results from AEW's Revolution. If Anthony doesn't die from his cough before
I will apologise for that, guys. Entire podcast just me sniffing and coughing because I'm like full of bug. Apologies.
It's weird. The comments say it's more entertaining than usual. Strange.
You think I'm beatboxing? Damn it.
Yeah. Just a little thing we'd like to add to the show to spice it up. But yeah, so we will love you and leave you. But before we do, if you like wrestling and you live in the UK or can get to the UK in April, then we suggest you check out For the Love of Wrestling, Europe's biggest wrestling convention. And don't just listen to us, listen to this awesome advertisement telling you all about the show. And we'll see you in the Revolution results.
For Love of Wrestling, Europe's largest wrestling convention, returns to the Exhibition Centre in Liverpool on the 23rd and 24th of April. Guests this year include Diva of the Decade, Trish Stratus, the Wrestling God, JBL, the Dudley Boys, Torrie Wilson, and just announced MJF from AEW. We will also be doing a Wyatt family reunion as we welcome Eric Rowan, the man formerly known as Braun Strowman, and indeed the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Also just announced is the man, the legend, the icon, Sting. And of course, your Olympic gold medalist, Kurt Angle. This and many, many, many more guests, as well as prop builds, Q&As with all of the wrestlers, and some of the biggest wrestling collections in the world on display from our exhibitors. Get your tickets at forloveofwrestling.co.uk or search Facebook or Twitter For the Love of Wrestling. For the Love of Wrestling, Europe's biggest wrestling convention, returns to Liverpool the 23rd and the 24th of April.
Hey everybody, this is Thunder Rosa and you're watching or listening A2theK. A2theK.
A to the K.